This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where we're holding our most exciting event of the summer this weekend. It's our Gnome Carver Trunk Show. Gnome Carver has been renowned and awarded for some of the best new engagement ring and wedding band designs in the world. And this weekend at D. Geller & Son, not only can you see Gnome's entire collection in one place, you can meet and shop with the designer himself. To make it better, we're offering special 24-month 0 APR financing all weekend, June 21st through 23rd, in all 3 D. Geller & Son showrooms, Atlanta, Kennesaw, and Sandy Springs. Learn more and make your appointment at dgeller.com.
This is an Extra 106.3 podcast. To hear more live and local content like this, tune into 106.3 FM or download the Extra 106.3 app. Extra 106.3 and a Second Chance Bail Bonds are here to back your blue. Back Your Blue highlights special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Join a Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Matalon and host Tug Coward to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Now it's time to Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra 106.3 app.
Welcome to Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Coward, along with Daniel Matalon. He is the CEO of Second Chance Bail Bonds. How are you, man?
Doing well. And yourself?
Could not be better. We are so lucky to have criminal investigator Florence Stephenson from the Cobb DA's office as our guest today. How are you, ma'am?
I'm doing very well. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, my gosh. It's such an honor for us. And this is the thing that I'm having to, in my head, work out. Because I think criminal investigator, I think, the things I see on TV, and I don't know how close those are to real or not real whatsoever, but I just think tough and gritty. And then I meet you, the sweetest person I ever met in my whole life, and I know there's got to be tough and gritty in there because there has to be. I mean, it's on TV, for heaven's sake. It has to be that way.
Yeah, she's in there.
Yeah, exactly. She's just tucked away
right.
until the need.
Until the need.
Until the need is
and then
there.
she comes out.
No, I love that. I love it. It's so. I mean, we've been talking about church. We've been talking about kids, and just Daniel. We've been talking about all kinds of things, not even related to, what we're talking about on the show today. And I just, in my head, I'm like, wait a minute. It's like they just don't match up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. But like I said, whenever she needs to get it out, something tells me, when you need to have people act right, that you can figure out how to get them to act right.
Yeah, I do.
See, and I love that. How long have you been doing this?
I'm coming up on 12 years now.
Okay.
Been in law enforcement, yes.
Did you think as a young woman growing up, was that always an interest, or is it something that came out of nowhere? Is it how did it all come about?
Well, so the funny thing is I used to watch Perry Mason and Murder, She Wrote with my
Oh my gosh. On TBS?
Yes.
Oh my, me too.
And I loved it. And then also, they used to have the Have You Seen Me?
Yes.
And as a little girl, I'd be like, I want to see if I can find them and save, as a child. But
that's amazing.
Yeah. But I really wanted to get into communications. And so I did a lot of internships with communications. And I realized I was like, this is not it. Then I went into business, and I liked business, but criminal justice was really calling me. And so my mom did not want me to go into criminal justice at all. And so what I did is I went out and I did the physical agility test. They said, hey, you made it. And I called my mom and said, hey, Mom, I'm going to the academy. I just want to let you know.
By the way. How's the weather?
Yeah.
How's Dad?
And so she was like, but now she's so ecstatic and loves it.
And rightfully so. We were just talking to State Representative Seabaugh, and we talked about the drop in numbers across the board when it comes to community servants like police officers, like firefighters, like EMS, just because of the obvious stress of the job. I mean, just the things that it takes physically to do what you do and what other officers and other first responders and those people do. I mean, do you see that as the number one driver of people maybe stepping away from the profession, or someone not even entertaining going into the profession to begin with?
I believe it does play a part in that. That's actually what I'm writing my PhD about.
Really?
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of times that in this position, you have this persona that you have to be strong, you have to be tough, and you don't have that outlet. Yes, you have your of course, coworkers to talk to, but you need something outside of that because it's just the same cycle, and you're continuously, you're not really dealing with it. And I feel like that plays a role in why everybody gets burned out and decides like this is not for me anymore. But you need an outlet, you need somebody to talk to, whether that is a therapist. There's nothing wrong seeing a therapist or even seeking help, because this job is a calling, and you need an outlet. So, and I think that's very important, but I do feel that plays a role in why law enforcement, one of the reasons why a lot of people say, this isn't for me anymore, because you get burned out.
Yeah, I can see it. And Daniel, I mean, obviously you dealing with law enforcement like you do at a second chance, I mean, you have to see it up close and personal, dealing with the same folks. I would imagine the same officers a lot, because you know the people that you communicate with and the people that you interact with all the time. Do you see that same thing?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, because we're guaranteeing someone's appearance in court, so on the front end, don't know some of these we don't know who these people are. So of course we want to dig into the facts of what's happening, and so we kind of get copies of the warrants, and then you kind of put the storyline together, and then you're talking to the family. So yeah, some of this stuff is some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, no doubt.
Dealing with, so.
Do you work with investigators like Investigator Stephenson? Is that common or no?
Well, normally they're on the front end,
okay.
Of the actual case, or indicting the case and things of that nature. So we're not where we come involved is once the person's been arrested, basically. Okay. But I work closely with the DA's office on there's a number of different reasons why we would come in communication with them and stuff, just in the duration of the case.
Okay.
So
moved from Illinois when you were young, moved to Gwinnett originally, and then on to Cobb. Walk us through that. So coming from Illinois, because we talked about accents too, because I got this big old hillbilly accent, and I don't sense an accent at all from you.
No. So a lot of people are like, "You're not from here, are you?" That's as soon as
you ain't from around here, are you?
And then you're like, "No, I'm from Chicago. I'm from Illinois." They're like, "Oh, I know." And then they go, "Yankee,"
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's I love it down here. I do miss my family, of course.
Of course,
home. But I just love it here. I just love the people and the camaraderie, and so I enjoy being down here.
And so, how old were we when you first moved in?
I could say I was 4. I could say I was from here, but I went home all the time.
Okay, yeah. So. No, it's good. So, but that's great, though. I mean, look, my wife's from upstate New York, and so I get it. I kind of understand, and being born and raised in Northwest Georgia and having a wife from New York, I mean, sometimes we have communication gaps. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's hard for us to talk, because she'll be like, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
This is maybe probably too much, but I'll tell you anyway. I remember when she first started coming down to Georgia when we were dating, and she met my Uncle Bob. He lives in Resaca, Georgia. Or he did, God rest his soul. He lived in Resaca, Georgia when she was first moving down. And the first thing, we went over to their house for dinner one night, with my mom and dad and whatever. And Uncle Bob was like, "Well, it's so nice to meet you, and I'm so glad that you're here." But he said it was such a thick Resaca, Georgia accent. I could see her just glazed over, shaking her head, going, and as soon as he finished, she just smiled, and she was like, "I have no idea what you just said." I mean, that was the first interaction with my uncle, was I have no idea what you just said. So and now we joke about it. It was so precious, because she was trying her best to figure it out, and sometimes it can be challenging. This accent, it's something else. But you went to KSU and got your undergrad done.
Yes, I did.
And then you brought up the PhD, which you're writing now. You're writing your paper for your PhD, and you're doing that through Walden University.
Yes, I am. So this has been a journey. Just there's a lot of research out there, and we were discussing PTSD, but then I'm also taking it on another turn. What are other contributing factors on why law enforcement leave their profession? So I'm trying to look at the other realms, or what other contributions that are saying officers are like, I can't do this anymore.
Well, what'd you come up with?
I found a lot of stuff about burnout, because you have to think this is a profession nobody wants to do anymore. And so now you have officers working longer hours.
Community support or lack thereof.
yes. And so a lot of them, they're working extra hours or working at 2 different precincts, trying to cover and make sure that they're there for the different cities and within Cobb County. So that puts a lot of stress on them, which in turns PTSD, and
burnout,
then
yeah.
yes.
And mental health is something that we're just on the tip of the iceberg, I think, when it comes to understanding how important mental health is, and especially in high-stress positions, high-stress jobs. And for so many years, it was looked at as a negative. It was looked at as a weakness. And now we're realizing it couldn't be any further from the truth. Are you seeing that too?
No, I totally agree. And as I stated before, we need an outlet, and hence this is mental health awareness month.
Absolutely.
It is very important that we do focus and work on us, with finding our peace and what makes us healthy, because we have to be healthy in order to perform in this profession, especially with our life, and then it carries on in your family life. So it's very important that you pay attention to those signs, whether it be depression, anxiety, whatever it is, and taking care of yourself in regards to your mental health.
Have you felt like that the district attorney's office, and then just like the Cobb County SO and the PD, do you feel like that they are starting to realize that too, and they're taking that very seriously, just like our discussion would have you believe?
Yes. I know that for the sheriff's office, they have created a place for deputies to, relax,
just wind down,
in
Sure.
their own little area, to decompress, which I think is amazing. Coming from before, because it was just like, this is what you do, this is what we need to do, and you need to get it done. And I know that, and even in the DA's office, they are like, hey, you are first, you're important, you need to take time off for yourself. You take that time off, you need somebody to talk to, we provide that for you. So it's been amazing in that regard.
That's great news. Anytime you get good, positive news out of our public servants, that's a great thing, because I have so much respect for what you do and the folks that are living in my community, that care about my community, care about the other people in our community, and want to keep it safe. I have so much admiration for you and what y'all do, and want to continue talking about that. We're talking to Florence Stephenson. She is the she's a criminal investigator for the Cobb County DA's office. And when we come back, we need to talk about how you got working in criminal investigation specifically, because you talked about watching Perry Mason and Murder, She Wrote, because I watched those with my parents too, and I loved Perry Mason, and I loved Murder, She Wrote. Was it Angela Lansbury? Is that who it was? I remember watching it with my grandmother and my daddy, and a lot of times it was before the Braves came on, yeah, or immediately after sometimes. We'll continue next on Extra 106.3. This is Back Your Blue.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where we're holding our most exciting event of the summer this weekend. It's our Noam Carver Trunk Show. Noam Carver has been renowned and awarded for some of the best new engagement ring and wedding band designs in the world. And this weekend at D. Geller & Son, not only can you see Noam's entire collection in one place, you can meet and shop with the designer himself. To make it better, we're offering special 24-month 0 APR financing all weekend, June 21st through 23rd, in all 3 D. Geller & Son showrooms, Atlanta, Kennesaw, and Sandy Springs. Learn more and make your appointment at dgeller.com.
Marketing is everywhere. From the billboards on the highways to the notifications on your phone, we are constantly bombarded with people trying to sell us stuff. What makes good marketing? Are you doing enough in your life personally and professionally to market yourself? You have questions, and the Marketing Madmen have answers. Search the Marketing Madmen on Google or your favorite podcast provider to get practical marketing advice from expert guests who are shaping and reshaping the business world. They say marketing is a madman's game. Join the Marketing Madmen every Saturday at 4 p.m. to find out why.
Extra 106.3 and a second chance bail bonds are here to back your blue. Now back to the show on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Welcome back to Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Howard, along with Daniel Madelon, the CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds. Talking to Florence Stephenson, criminal investigator for the Cobb County DA's office. You work for D.A. Brody, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, Daniel, I feel like you and D.A. Brody know each other.
We do. We do know each other.
How long have y'all been friends or related or worked together, or a combination of all those?
Probably a little over 4 years.
Okay.
But I mean, I knew he also worked at Cobb County prior to that. So I mean, and I've been working. Our oldest office is 17 years old, so I've been in working in the Cobb County network, I guess, for 17 years.
And we've been fortunate enough to have D.A. Brody on this show.
That's right. That's right.
He came in and was just a hoot. I mean, just the nicest guy you could ever meet in your whole life. And it gives you joy to be able to talk to someone who is serving their community and doing it well. What's it been like working for him?
Oh, it's been amazing, and he's very personable, and he's funny, and I just love what he's doing for the office, and he's just very intelligent, very poised, and he's great to work for.
That's
I
awesome.
love it. Yeah.
No, that's great. I mean, because it always starts from the top, right?
Exactly.
And makes its way down. If you have good leadership at the top, then everything seems to flow nicer and flow better. I learned that from the military when I was stationed aboard USS South Carolina and Commander Carrier Group 6. I was blessed with a good captain of our ship. Captain Brown was fantastic, and he inspired you to do better. You know what I mean? And then Rear Admiral Johnson, Commander Carrier Group 6, was just a guy I could listen to. He was probably, I'll say, mid-60s. So he kind of had that grandpa-type wisdom, even though he was nowhere near being like a grandpa that couldn't get around. I don't mean that in any sort of derogatory manner. I just mean he was a guy that was so inspiring, and when he spoke, you listened, just like I did with my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
He just had that wisdom. And I remember going through the Suez Canal, and he was telling me what was going on in biblical times on either side of the Suez Canal, and it was like story time as a kid in school. I would just sit and listen to it and eat it up. And so I know it starts at the top and makes its way down. So it's great to have D.A. Brody there in Cobb County because he's doing all kinds of great things there. Your background, investigator for sexual violence crimes, seems kind of heavy, especially for your personality.
Yeah, it is. It's very heavy, but we're here for the victims.
Of course.
And you want to be there for them, especially they have to relive this. And some of the cases you come across, this happened to them when they were a child, and they have to relive that, but you need that information to move forward with the case. So it does get heavy, and that's where it comes in, where you have to release and have somebody to talk to you like, hey, this is what I encountered, and just to talk through it so you don't internalize it.
Yeah.
So but it's really important, and it's very rewarding once the cases are completed, especially for the victim, because they finally have peace at that point. So it's a change, and it's a good change, but it's also just very rewarding. So I enjoy it.
Yeah. And I would imagine, as we talked about this during the before we got on the air, before the show started, and just how important your faith is to you, and it is to me too. So we're kindred spirits there, because there's a bigger reason, there's a bigger purpose, and there always is. And look, a lot of people don't see it, and I certainly don't think less of those people, but I understand why your faith is so important to you, especially in times like those. And I would imagine that is something that you rely on, especially with those tough cases, like when you're trying to figure out the why.
Yes. Typically when I'm working cases and I'm trying to get a grasp of it or trying to understand, I'll just be like, God, like, what am I missing? Like, what is it that I'm missing so I can complete this case? Or what is it that I'm missing to fill in the gaps to help this case move forward and for us to succeed, and then,
And to do right.
Absolutely.
And to right the wrong.
Correct.
Oh, my gosh. I know, and as I said, heavy for sure, but the reward at the end, even though someone else is made whole, hopefully, or at least on their way to being made whole, that reward, it's like giving, is better than receiving. It's kind of that same mentality, it feels like.
Yes.
Yeah. Before that, white collar crimes for 2 years, working for the Cobb County Sheriff's Office for 10 years. White collar crimes. What's that all about? Is that like money laundering, or what is that? Is it Matlock involved? What are we doing?
So when they asked me to come to the DA's office, I did work in white collar as their lead investigator in white collar crime for the DA's office for 2 years, and then at the sheriff's office I worked, I would say probably about 4 years in white collar crime, close to about 3 to 4 years. So that entails scams, phishing, malware.
Oh, wow.
You name it, identity theft, you got it.
Holy cow. It's
Yeah.
like the stuff, Daniel, that my mama calls me about. And she's like, I got an email, and it said it was from a royal prince, and they were going to send me $1 million if I sent them $100,000. Is that a good trade-off? I'm like, Mama, no. No, that ain't real.
Don't.
Yeah, please, whatever you do. Like, I obviously make light of it, but there's so many questions that she'll call me about when she's logging into Facebook or a social media, which I think the only one she uses is Facebook. But she'll call me and she'll ask me about things that are going on. I bet you have to deal with that. Social media seems like it would be ripe for things like that.
Yes. So with social media, you have things that people get ads, and they'll click on the ads, and at that, it's a scam. And once they click on the ad, then they get into their account and begin to hack their account. Then you start, you're like somebody you haven't talked to in a long time, like, hey, I need some help. I was wondering if you could send me some money. You're like, I haven't talked to you in years. Will you?
Send you money. That's
Right.
the first thing you ask?
Right, and I haven't talked to you in years. And people will do it, and they'll say, hey, I know you're in a hard spot. I'll send you the money. And then they ask for more, and then that person the victim will create an account, say, hey, my account's got hacked. Don't answer or send any money to this person. They're like, oh, too late. Yeah. Too late. So
is there ever a way to retrieve that? I bet it has to be rare.
So not necessarily. Statistically, it's about 5%, but
Seems like it'd be so. Just take the money and run like Steve Miller style.
Yeah. But in some of the cases that I have worked, I've had it where people have fell for a scam. Like it could be like, oh, I'm in Egypt, I'm here with my child, and I need help coming over to the States. I'm being abused, and they really harp in on elderly, and so they'll send like thousands of dollars, and then their children will come in and say, hey,
what have you done?
Yeah, don't send this money, and so the case will come to us, and what I'll do is I'll get in touch with their bank and say, hey, the money is being sent to this account. I need you to stop it. And so they'll stop it. And some of it they can, they can recover. And then some of it, then,
Yeah, so long. Yeah.
Along with the wind.
Yeah, buddy, I'm telling. Well, it's like people that don't show up for the court case for you, right? Kind of like that.
Yeah, that's affirmative.
He hit me with that's an affirmative, like he's on the task force this morning.
Well, they go out with the wind. They're gone with the wind, and there's money that's owed. So
no kidding,
I can tell you they collect it. So
oh my Lord, yeah, it's just,
we can't find them.
There's just so much. The world just seems so topsy turvy. Everything's upside down, or it feels that way, and it's hard not to get discouraged. You know what I mean? And this is probably too broad of a question to ask, but do you fall into that trap where you just get discouraged sometimes, where you're like, I just got done cleaning up a mess, and now here's 5 more messes to clean up?
Yes. A lot of times people think they're doing the right thing because when you're in this field, and I know you can attest to this, when you're in this field, you see things from a different lens, and you realize everything's not roses and unicorns. But to somebody out, living a normal life, when somebody's asking for help, they have that, oh, I want to help them, and I want to be there for this person that needs, this money because they're being hurt and abused, and they have a child, So when they bring children in it, that's kind of like a heart jerker,
absolutely,
right?
Tearjerker, heartstrings, for sure.
But then you realize you're sending all this money. And they're like, you need more money? Okay, well, I'm going to help you. And people fall in this trap, and especially the romance scams.
Oh my heavens!
People are lonely, and they feeling like, oh my God, they're going to come see me, or they're going to send me a ticket to come see them, and it does not happen. And they keep sending this money, and hopefully one day.
A friend of a friend fell into this trap, and
Yeah.
I saw it from 10,000 miles away. I was like, hang on, they're doing what? I just remember asking the friend about their friend, because it was two-step. I didn't know the person, but I knew of them, and they told me what was going on, and they were like trying to coach them through this, and I'm like, hang on, they bought it? Like, you bought it? No, there's no way you could buy it. And then people do all the time. Like, I guess I just felt like it's so common sense.
Fraud,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
The heart will mislead you sometimes.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I had a case. We actually went to the house and talked to one of the family members. We're like, hey, this isn't real. This person isn't real. They're scamming you out of your money.
What's that called? Catfishing? Is that what that's called?
Yeah. But we call it more like we put it in the realm of romance scams.
Romance scam, okay, yeah.
So we're like, it's not real. It's not. It was to the point he dwindled the family's money out.
Oh no!
That it was that bad, and he didn't stop. Even though we talked to him and told him like, hey, this.
He wanted to believe so bad.
He wanted to believe so bad. He thought he was helping this person, and to the point they more likely probably had to sell their house because that's how much he blew on helping that person.
Outside of the good Lord, ain't nothing I want to believe that much.
We even have people
where I'm gonna give every penny that I have away.
Yeah.
We even have people that are arrested on fraud and crimes like she's talking about, and then they use fraudulent credit cards to get out of jail. So it's like doubling down on fraud.
Absolutely
Yes.
unbelievable.
Which is insane, but it
horrible.
happens all the time. When I tell you all the time, it happens all the time. All the time.
I mean,
I had 2 this week.
no, you did not.
Yeah.
2 crimes of the heart this
Chargebacks.
week.
Yeah, where you'll get a call from someone in California and they'll be like, so bail bonds, why is my card being charged? And we're like, and then of course we have to look into it, but these people are getting access to these cards, already have fraud charges or of something in that realm. And then they're using I don't know who goes to the bail bondsman with a stolen credit card
That's
expecting
bold.
to get away with it. I mean, it really is crazy, but they do it. It
That
happens
is
all the
a
time.
bold move.
Yeah.
If I might call it out, I think that is
wild.
a bold strategy. Cotton. I know that was from some movie. I don't remember which one it was, but that is a bold strategy. Goodness.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. I can't, and you guys are like an echo chamber. You're just bouncing off each other. It's just like the greatest stories of all time. I mean, and I'm sure you've had just the craziest of the crazy when it comes to stories.
Oh yeah, just bouncing off what he said. I had people we did a search warrant on, and they had embossers, and so what they will do is they'll take their name and then find a credit card that they stole and then emboss it with that credit card number with their name. So of course when they go and present their license and the credit card, it has their name on it, but it's somebody else's credit card number. And we have credit card readers, and we'll swipe it in our credit card readers at work, and it'll come up with a totally different number. Then you have 2 victims. So the front of the credit card is somebody else. Then on the black strip, when we run it through our credit card reader, it belongs to somebody else. And so now I have 2 victims that I have to call and say, hey, do you know if your credit card has been stolen? Have you been? They're like, yeah, matter of fact, I saw some charges I didn't recognize. And I said, well, I just want to let you know it was used in a commission of a crime. Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. I bet all of a sudden their heart drops, and they're like, hang on, I didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't do nothing. Because that's the first thing we would claim they're innocent, because that's what I'd be doing. I'd be like, I don't know what it's about. I don't know what you're talking about. Please know that I did not do any of this. Whatever it is you're telling me about, I didn't do any of
And
it.
the card looks real, like when they've used them in our office. Because exactly what she's saying, we've actually had happen at the bonding company.
Goodness.
And literally, the card it looks legit. Like you wouldn't know any different. Like if I
pull out my credit card right now,
Right.
it looks just like that.
it's
Just
the
like
same
that.
thing. It looks the same, just like
How
that.
do you
but
make that?
But the mag strip,
They
like
get
she's-
embossers. You can buy them off of Amazon.
Well, I know what I'm doing later today. I tell you, I'm about to make me some money.
I'm like, good to know.
got you covered. I got you covered, Tom.
Good to know.
Absolutely. I think I just told the wrong people my plan. See, that's the thing, dumb criminals, right? They always mess it up.
Yeah.
No, they're not gonna,
I was like,
you can't
that's
keep it
good
up.
to know.
Yeah, exactly right.
We'll meet you after work.
Mental note, absolutely. Note well taken. Holy cow, man, that's unbelievable. I really. Oh, and by the movie, The Bold Strategy Continent is from Dodgeball. Have you ever seen that movie, Dodgeball?
Yes.
That's where the broadcaster. That's
Yeah.
I knew it was from a movie. I just couldn't remember what it was, so I forgot to look it up. So much that I could ask you so many questions, but we'll go with how does the DA's office? How is that different from like arresting law enforcement agencies? You know, like what? How are they different?
So typically we get cases that are already completed. However, sometimes when I get the case, there may be missing information, or maybe when reading the report, I may notice that, hey, they forgot to interview this person and they were key into this investigation. So I'll do the follow-up. So I'll go and conduct an interview, or if there's missing bank statements or to show like a pattern, I would get that information to help the officer or the detective or the investigator that had the case previously to help their case. So when we do go to trial, it brings some type of formality in there. Yeah.
All right. And that is kind of like what you're describing, right? When you're deciding whether to, pay or post someone's bond, right?
Right.
Is that you just talked about putting that story together too, right?
Oh, yeah.
You have to be a little bit of a criminal investigator as well.
Because you could have $100,000 bond, and if that person doesn't show up, then I have to pay the $100,000. So I am going to
terrible. That's awful. Good Lord, that's
right.
That's
no,
the worst. I can't think of anything worse on a day like today.
Right. You're gambling with crime, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Which seems like a losing proposition. I mean,
not unless you know how to do it the right way.
Well, clearly you do, because it just seems like going to Vegas and just throwing all your money at the worst bet in the casino. Like, what is the way I can lose it the quickest here? And they're like, I'll take that way. You know what I mean? Like, who does that?
Well, what's wild is sometimes they'll even say they'll talk down to you as if why how dare you ask me these questions, and I'm like, there's 100,000 reasons why I'm asking you this question right now. I mean, literally.
I was just looking up the worst odds in a casino, because that's
probably the slot machine.
Well, blackjack, actually. Blackjack, then craps, then roulette. I would think roulette would be the first. That would be anyway. I'm getting off on a tangent, but that's what you do. That's the way you live your life.
That's right.
Like crazy bets
every day, 24/7.
I don't know how you do it, man. I admire it. But I don't know how you do it. How do you work and interact with those law enforcement agencies now? And I would imagine it was beneficial to come up through the ranks and actually do some of the stuff on the other side too, right?
Right.
So it gives you that working knowledge from both perspectives.
Correct. So typically when I was at the sheriff's office, a lot of the outside agencies, we specialized in white collar. So when they came up on a scene and they're like, there's a lot of fake checks.
Is that a technical term? What's the definition of that?
We're not doing it. It was we are not specialized in this area. We're going to get the sheriff's office to do it. So then we would get called and we would go out. And so we would go out and work the case from there. They would work from the criminal aspect, and then we would look at the criminal aspect on the white collar side. And you would find checks. I mean, you would find people that have been deceased. They would start writing checks in their names. So it's important that you get rid of all the checkbooks. Yeah. Yes.
They were writing checks in dead people's name.
Yeah.
Of course they were.
Yeah.
It's going back to the bad odds. I mean, they just whatever it takes. Anything. Nobody will notice that Miss Sarah Beth is writing checks. Well, Sarah Beth's been dead for 5 years. Somebody might notice. I mean, so it may come up.
Yeah. So, and typically what they'll do is they'll write these checks in the deceased individual's name on a Friday. The bank doesn't check it, clear it. They'll cash it, give it, and then when Monday comes, they'll say closed account or insufficient funds.
And then they'll charge back whoever. Yeah, when the poor company, they're the ones that's just getting completely, taken advantage of.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. We're talking to Florence Stephenson, criminal investigator, Cobb County DA's office. And why does she have all this knowledge? Well, she is coming up on 12 years of service. She's a certified officer by the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council. Previously worked as a task force officer with the DEA. That's big time there. Oh, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
Oh, so what is the difference in like the federal level and what you do now? Is there a huge difference?
Oh, it's
Night and day?
It's night and day.
Okay.
It is night and day. When you're federal, you're working all the time.
Ain't no days off.
There's really no days off.
I don't want to work with them.
You're on call all the time.
I don't care if they call today. I'm not going to. Never going to.
It was a great learning experience and working with some great agents, but the normalcy of a 8 to 5 is kind of my thing. But I enjoyed it. I loved it. But
Sure,
you're
it's
on the go.
experience.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal experience.
Good to get it behind you.
Yes.
Glad I did it. Glad it's over.
So, yes, it was
going
awesome.
back.
Yeah, it was awesome. Sometimes you miss it, like the
fast pace,
the
intensity of it.
yeah. But then you're like,
It doesn't seem like something you'd miss long. You'd probably get like at a roller coaster, get that same rush if you needed it.
All the time.
Head down to Six Flags or something. Go to Disney World or Universal or something. Get that same rush and then not have to fool with that.
Right.
No structured hours. Do you ever have to work with federal people on a bond side?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. No. So I mean, let's say someone's on bond with me, and let's say the feds are looking at them. And they'll start kind of.
Okay, well, you say that so passive. Is that common?
Oh yeah, it happens all the time.
Of course it is.
The Marshal's task force shows up at your office, or
I can hear.
or you get a phone call.
Hey, Daniel.
Or you get normally it's a call from an investigator, and they're like, "Hey, we're looking into this, and we see you've bonded this person out 3 times. We want to see what kind of information you have." So it's more of a cross reference of information, which can only be helpful in an investigation. And then sometimes we have to, we might have the person on monitor on GPS, and then we might have to go pursuit mode and
Go
that
pursuit
person
mode.
gets apprehended.
Do you call the police to go in pursuit mode with you, or how does that work?
They'll call us.
They call
to
you?
help.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have all the information.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, well, look. All that makes sense to me. All right, we're going to take a break here, and then we're going to come back because I want to ask about cases that stand out to you as a reason you do this work, as a reason that you are so dedicated to it and so passionate about it. We will continue. This is Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Coward, along with Florence Stephenson, Criminal Investigator, Cobb County DA's office, and Daniel Madelon of A Second Chance Bail Bonds.
Extra 106.3 and A Second Chance Bail Bonds are here to back your blue. Now back to the show on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Welcome back to Back Your Blue with Daniel Madelon of A Second Chance Bail Bonds. My name is Tug Coward on Extra 106.3. Our guest, Florence Stephenson, Criminal Investigator for Cobb County's DA office. Before we get to the cases that stand out to you as the reason you do this work, how do you work with the other law enforcement agencies? Like, what's the relationship there with y'all?
We have a really good relationship because we all have a common goal. We want justice. We want these cases. Majority of the time they're solved. Some of them are not, but because we still have to piece stuff together. But we have a really good working relationship with our surrounding agencies, whether that be Marietta, Cobb, Smyrna. We have a really good relationship working with each and every one of them. So.
And what is the interaction like usually? I mean, are you trading notes, or how does that? Like, what's a regular interaction like?
So just to go back to when I was in with the sheriff's office and we worked, together, we would share notes. They would give me hey, this is what I found on this person. This was the type of evidence. I couldn't move forward with this, but this is what I found. And then I would take that and then expound on that to create my case against that individual. And then even working in the DA's office, if you need anything, you get with that investigator or that officer. You're like, hey, this is the case I have right now. I'm missing this information. Do you think you can provide that? They're Johnny on the spot. They provide that information. They're like, is there anything else you need? I got you. You just let me know. So
tonight in Arkansas, there's a mother tucking in her daughter and turning off the light. A business owner is burning the midnight oil. An at-home dinner date is plating up possibility. And it's all happening under one roof. How? The power of a conversation, like the one John from Integrity Solutions had with First Horizon Bank about his vision for a sustainable mixed-use building. Now it's not just words, it's life. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/John. First Horizon Bank, member FDIC.
Marketing is everywhere. From the billboards on the highways to the notifications on your phone, we are constantly bombarded with people trying to sell us stuff. What makes good marketing? Are you doing enough in your life personally and professionally to market yourself? You have questions, and the Marketing Madmen have answers. Search the Marketing Madmen on Google or your favorite podcast provider to get practical marketing advice from expert guests who are shaping and reshaping the business world. They say marketing is a madmen's game. Join the Marketing Madmen every Saturday at 4 p.m. to find out why.
There is that camaraderie and that relationship there. We all work really well together.
Yeah. Look, and I know, Daniel, you work with everybody in Metro Atlanta for the most part, right?
Yep, we have offices all over.
Yeah, so the same applies there in the interaction and good relationships, good rapport across the board.
It's important to keep all relationships good.
Yeah, I mean that's the basis of everything in life, really, is relationships, right? I mean it's just that mutual respect and knowing that everybody, like you said, working for the common cause. Has there been cases that stand out to you as the reason you do the work that you do?
Yeah, I have a lot of cases that stand out to me. I feel like one that's been so there's a couple. One that I was a very big case, and it did go over to the feds.
Oh my!
We had an individual. He took someone's identity, and he started purchasing vehicles, and so I felt like I was a step behind him at one point because it's all happened in Cobb. He bought a Hellcat, then it did not go through, and then he ended up getting a Porsche. And so here I am talking to the victim who's in a totally different state, and I'm like, I'm going to do the best I can, because you don't want to make empty promises and say I'm going to get this person. And so I kind of had to let it lie because I just didn't have enough information. Then I had another individual remind me, like, hey, do you remember this case about a gentleman that fell for a scam, and they gave the individual's name, and I was like, oh, they sent me video. I found the hotel, and I'm like, this information is just like
familiar.
Yeah, this looks like this. I think this is the guy, and I end up finding him and narrowing him down to a house in Cobb that he was staying at. I found him, and me and my partner sat outside the house just to watch him come in and out, and then we went in for the takedown and we got him.
Your SWAT background, because I didn't bring this up earlier, but I feel like I need to, being a hostage negotiator for the Cobb County SWAT Team. I would imagine that your SWAT background came in handy in this story that you're sharing. Am I right about that?
I'm more of a negotiator, but I hit a lot of warrants. That was my thing.
Right.
Yeah, so I hit a lot of warrants.
I could just see you moving in, kicking in doors and things,
I enjoyed that very much.
Yeah, exactly. That's so cool, though. But so how does technology play into this? Because I would imagine like people's digital exhaust is a gold mine.
Yes. So a lot
I know you have to be careful.
Yeah.
Because of privacy.
Yeah, but the issue that a lot of people run into is, hey, DHL was trying to deliver you a package. You're like, I didn't order anything. Click on this link to see the tracking. Okay, I'm going to click on the link. And so they click on the link, and it takes them somewhere else. Now they have taken their information, and that's how they get in and infiltrate, their emails, like, oh, just to verify it's you, enter your name, your address, your date of birth, and they're just taking information from you, and that's how it ends up on the dark web. I mean, even like AT&T just had something recently about a data breach, and then they have your name, social security number, and so it's very important that you have you check your credit, and you have these credit freezes on your accounts, because they're just running havoc on that, and it's important that you have these credit freezes.
Yeah, and those are pretty easy to do, right? A credit freeze, you just call it.
Very easy.
And can you explain, just in case somebody don't know, how easy it is and what they should do?
Yeah, so typically you just get in touch with all three credit bureaus, so that's Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. You get on there. You can create an account, and it's easy. You want to freeze your credit. You can unthaw it you can even set times for how you want to unthaw it. Like if you're trying to purchase for a car or, especially getting a house, you can say I want it unfrozen for a week and then it'll freeze right back. It's very simple. It's easy. You can even call and do it.
Okay.
It's very simple and very easy. It's very imperative that they do it now because it's, you can't think of if it's going to happen to me, it's when.
Yeah, that's right.
When is it going to happen?
No, that's right.
So it's very important and very vital that you do freeze your credit in this time.
My wife recently had something like that happen, and thankfully she caught it, but we were buying from an online retailer, and something we had bought, like 5 years ago. Hadn't even thought about this online retailer in a long time. And she gets an email saying somebody bought like a living room suit and a bedroom suit. I mean, it was like probably $3,000 or $4,000, and all of a sudden it was showing pending on our credit card. And so we got in touch with that retailer, obviously told them that wasn't the case. They canceled it and they were able to catch it just because my wife happened to get an email trying to confirm that that it was an actual purchase by us, and a lot of retailers do that. Had she just seen the name of the retailer, knowing we hadn't bought from there in a long time, and just deleted it, we would have been up the creek without a paddle. And so thankfully, she was able to catch it, and sure enough, man, everything was back normal. But to your point, it's not if, it's when. Mm-hmm. And we were in the crosshairs recently. I tell you, it's such an honor to sit down with you, Florence. You're such an inspiration. You are you light up the room, and we appreciate the work that you do for the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're always welcome. I hope you'll come back one day soon and maybe bring some of the SWAT materials.
Oh.
Maybe we'll test them out.
Absolutely.
Or something, just test them out.
I'm like, everybody wear a vest.
Yes. Absolutely.
Let me know how it feels.
Target practice. Maybe we'll do some target practice. I'm just thinking maybe a few things. Daniel, would you be in for that? I'd be in for it.
Yeah.
Just maybe we can get DA Brody to come over. We'll make it a fun day. Everybody will be involved. It'll be great. That'll do it for us here on Back Your Blue. Florence Stephenson, Criminal Investigator for Cobb County DA. Daniel Madelon is the reason this show happens. And a second chance bail bonds. My name is Tug Cowart, and this is Extra 1063. Have a great day.
This is an Extra 1063 podcast. To hear more live and local content like this, tune into 1063 FM or download the Extra 1063 app.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where we're holding our most exciting event of the summer this weekend. It's our Noam Carver Trunk Show. Noam Carver has been renowned and awarded for some of the best new engagement ring and wedding band designs in the world. And this weekend at D. Geller & Son, not only can you see Noam's entire collection in one place, you can meet and shop with the designer himself. To make it better, we're offering special 24-month 0 APR financing all weekend, June 21st through 23rd, in all 3 D. Geller & Son showrooms, Atlanta, Kennesaw, and Sandy Springs. Learn more and make your appointment at dgeller.com.
Marketing is everywhere. From the billboards on the highways to the notifications on your phone, we are constantly bombarded with people trying to sell us stuff. What makes good marketing? Are you doing enough in your life personally and professionally to market yourself? You have questions, and the Marketing Madmen have answers. Search the Marketing Madmen on Google or your favorite podcast provider to get practical marketing advice from expert guests who are shaping and reshaping the business world. They say marketing is a madman's game. Join the Marketing Madmen every Saturday at 4 p.m. to find out why.
A lifetime of hard work, children laughing in the kitchen, family photos on a restaurant wall, a legacy that lives on. It all comes from the power of a conversation, like the one Tommy Hall had with First Horizon Bank about taking over his father's Charleston-based restaurant business. Now the table is set for a whole new generation. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/Tommy. First Horizon Bank, member FDIC.